Hi, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really going deep on what it means to have, well, total control of your online life. Okay, let's unpack this. In an age where, every click, every message, every single transaction seems to leave this digital footprint, sometimes feels almost permanent. What if there was a way you could actually reclaim absolute control over, well, everything you do online? It's a question that comes up a lot now, doesn't it?
It really does.
The truth is, we're living in a time where there's this growing uh, almost palpable concern about our privacy, about surveillance that sometimes feels totally pervasive, and yeah, the massive control that both governments and these huge corporations have over our digital existence.
hmm
It kind of feels like every day we're giving up a bit more autonomy, and let's be honest, that could be pretty frustrating.
Exactly. And it's right there in that context that this very specific need emerges. But it's a need that I think deep down resonates with a much bigger chunk of the population.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's this relentless search for freedom, for autonomy, and crucially, for extreme security in our digital interactions. For people who really feel that squeeze of centralized control, who feel like they're constantly under some external microscope, well, for them, this deep dive isn't just relevant, it's vital.
Right.
We're talking about a group of users who don't just worry about privacy, they demand it. Like it's a fundamental right, almost a matter of digital survival for them. They're looking to build a genuine digital fortress in a world that seems increasingly, well, vulnerable.
And it's for you. Maybe you're prepping for a big cybersecurity meeting, or maybe you just want to get up to speed on where the digital future might be heading and how it could actually empower you more. That's why we're diving in today. We're going to explore this really fascinating set of sources that propose a, well, pretty radical solution, almost like a digital engineering blueprint. It's this synergistic blend of decentralized technologies
Mm.
designed specifically for what the authors call, and we'll unpack this, libertarian and paranoid users.
Mhm.
So our mission today is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from this material, help you understand not just how these technologies work on their own, but how they connect, how they work together to build a digital environment that's truly sovereign and, this is critical, auditable.
Yeah, auditable is key.
It's like building your own citadel in the cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. And our goal here isn't just to throw abstract tech concepts or complex theories at you. It's much more practical than that.
Yeah.
We really want you to grasp the real-world applications and the power these tools offer for people looking to break free from constant surveillance and arbitrary censorship.
Okay.
Think of this as maybe a shortcut to getting well-informed on a topic that is, yeah, it's complex in the details, no doubt, but it's incredibly relevant and impacts our daily digital lives, especially when things like privacy and freedom of expression are on the line.
Couldn't agree more.
We're really talking about empowerment through making conscious tech choices. Hashtag tag one, the quest for digital autonomy, understanding the users and the core problem.
Right. So to start building this digital fortress, we first need to understand the starting point, the foundational problem that got us here in the first place. Our current digital landscape is, let's face it, overwhelmingly centralized. But what does that actually mean in practice, and why should you care? It means most of your online life happens through single points of control. Think about, say, the big servers storing your emails, Gmail, Outlook, whatever service you use, or the companies running your social media feeds, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Even the internet service providers, right? They control the data flow into and out of your house.
Yeah, the ISPs are a big one.
Each of these is a control point. Massive intermediaries that don't just facilitate your interactions, they also have the ability, and often the incentive, let's be real, to monitor, to censor, or even compromise your data.
Right.
Essentially, they're the gatekeepers of your digital life,
Yeah.
and you don't hold the master key.
And the consequences of that centralization are, well, they're deep, and they hit us in lots of different ways, directly impacting our privacy and security. We're constantly exposed to risks like data breaches.
Oh yeah, it seems like every other week.
Exactly. Where personal, often sensitive information gets stolen from these centralized databases holding millions, sometimes billions, of records. Think about big retailers or social networks getting hacked, exposing data for millions of users. That's a direct result of centralization.
Okay.
Then there's state surveillance. Governments, through legal orders or maybe less formal agreements with these centralized companies, can access and monitor online communications and activities, often without the individual even knowing it's happening.
Scary stuff.
And corporations, they're doing massive data mining, collecting info on every habit, preference, interaction, mostly for targeted ads, sure, but also for behavioral analysis or sometimes, more worryingly, manipulation.
Right. The ads that follow you everywhere.
Censorship is another huge issue. A single control point can decide what you can or can't see, share, or even say online. They can silence voices or block the free flow of information. And fundamentally, all of this leads to a glaring lack of user control over their own information. You aren't the true owner of your data, you're just a user on a platform. And that platform can, at any moment, change the terms, limit your access, even ban you completely.
Yeah.
Centralization is basically the opposite of digital autonomy.
Okay, so it's within that context, this deep concern about losing control and privacy, that our source materials identify this very specific target audience. They somewhat pointedly call them libertarian and paranoid users. Now, I admit the term might sound a bit strong, maybe even quaint at first glance.
A little bit, yeah.
But let's unpack it, because like you said earlier, what it hides is a need that actually resonates much more broadly. Let's think about the libertarian angle first in this context. In the digital world, a libertarian user, according to these sources, is someone fundamentally seeking to reduce third-party intervention, whether that's governments, corporations, any central authority in their digital life. They prioritize individual freedom, autonomy, and crucially, sovereignty over their own digital existence. They want to be the actual owners of their online space, their interactions, their data.
Makes sense.
For example, picture someone wanting to make financial transactions without needing a bank to mediate every single payment or deal with annoying fees and delays.
Right. Peer-to-peer.
Or someone who wants to communicate without a telecom company logging every call or message, or without a messaging platform analyzing the content for marketing. They crave direct control, unfiltered, without needing to ask permission just to exist online.
And then on the other side, you have the paranoid angle. Now, it's really important to stress here, paranoid in this context doesn't mean irrational phobias or unfounded fear. Not at all.
Okay, good clarification.
It means demanding extreme guarantees of security and anonymity. These are individuals who don't easily trust opaque systems or third parties holding the keys. They demand robust, fail-safe, protective measures against potential threats. They just don't want to rely on the good intentions of others for their safety.
Right, they want proof.
Exactly. And that translates into this relentless search for systems that are trustless. And when we say trustless, that's a really key concept here. It doesn't mean you trust nothing. It means the system is designed so you don't have to place blind faith in any single centralized entity.
Okay.
Instead, trust is baked into the system's architecture itself, into the cryptographic algorithms, the mathematical proofs, the network's distributed consensus mechanisms. The rules are enforced by code and collective verification, not by a company's promise or a government's order. This is absolutely fundamental for users who prioritize auditability and independent verification that the system works as advertised, with no hidden backdoors or vulnerabilities. What's fascinating here is that while the terms libertarian and paranoid might sound extreme, the underlying needs they represent, privacy, control, security, actually resonate with a much, much broader audience than you might initially think.
Yeah, I can see that.
You don't need to identify with those labels to want more control over your data or to worry about widespread surveillance or to fear having your information compromised in some massive leak.
Rolling.
For you listening, even if those terms don't fit, think about those everyday frustrations. The targeted ads that seem to know way too much, that uneasy feeling your conversations might be monitored, or the fear of your financial data getting stolen. These are the exact concerns these technologies aim to address, making them incredibly relevant for pretty much anyone using the internet today. It really raises an important question, doesn't it? In a digital world so fundamentally designed for centralized control, how can technology actually truly empower individuals and rebalance that power dynamic?
And the answer, according to our sources, and really the foundation for how we're going to build out this digital fortress idea, is decentralization. Decentralized technologies naturally fit these demands because control is distributed, it's spread out, not concentrated in one single point or just a few hands. That makes them inherently more resistant to failure, to attacks, and crucially, to censorship.
It's a fundamental paradigm shift, really, and the bedrock of our fortress. Instead of having one powerful entity governing and maintaining the system like a giant bank or social network, you have many smaller entities, we often call them nodes or participants, working together collectively to maintain the network. This distribution of power makes the system exponentially more resilient. If one node fails, the network keeps running. It's more censorship resistant because, well, To shut the system down, you'd have to take out a massive number of nodes scattered across the globe, which is basically impossible.
Impractical, yeah.
And in many ways, it's more transparent because all participants can verify how the rules work and the state of the system without trusting a single source. It's this distribution of power that's the key to achieving the autonomy these users seek, transforming them from mere users into actual owners of their digital experience. #Take2. The foundational pillars. A deep dive into key decentralized technologies.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, where we start putting up the first walls of this digital fortress. Let's begin with a technology many of you have probably heard of, but maybe haven't fully unpacked in terms of its potential for digital sovereignty. Blockchain?
Yes, blockchain.
Often linked just with cryptocurrencies, but blockchain is so much more than that. It's like the immutable backbone for many of the solutions we're going to talk about today. So, what is it, really, at its core? Simply put, imagine a massive digital ledger, a public record book that's immutable, meaning unchangeable and transparent. The genius part is that this ledger isn't stored in one single place. It's distributed, copied, and maintained by thousands of computers all over the world, linked together in a network. Each new entry, or block, is cryptographically linked to the one before it, forming this unbroken chain. Once data is recorded in a block and validated by the network, it basically can't be altered or deleted without rewriting the entire chain, which is practically impossible given its distributed nature and the need for consensus from most participants.
Right, the consensus is key.
It's a record you can always audit.
And it's precisely that nature that makes it so crucial for digital sovereignty. First, as you touched on, it enables secure financial transactions without needing intermediaries like banks. Transactions are verified and recorded by the network decentrally, not by a single institution. This cuts out the middleman, the associated fees, and the risk of financial censorship.
Right. You don't need permission to move your own assets.
Exactly. Second, its censorship resistance is really quite remarkable. Because the network is globally distributed, there's no single control point that can just halt or reverse transactions. If a government or corporation tries to censor transactions on one node, the rest of the network just ignores that attempt and the transaction goes through anyway.
Wow.
That's fundamental for freedom to transact and for resilience against external pressure. And finally, blockchain enables self-sovereign ownership of digital assets. Unlike a bank account where the bank technically holds your funds, or an online service where the platform stores your photos, on the blockchain, you hold the private key that controls your assets.
You hold the key, you own the asset.
That's it. It means you are the true owner, not some platform or company. It's like having the actual deed to your digital property. And specifically talking about privacy within this ecosystem, some cryptocurrencies take this capability a step further. They're like the secret chambers within our fortress. Monero and Zcash are notable examples of privacy coins.
Okay, I've heard of those.
They enhance anonymity way beyond standard blockchain transactions, which, although pseudonymous, still allow you to trace the flow of funds between public addresses if you know where to look.
Right, the addresses are public.
Monero, for instance, uses advanced techniques like stealth addresses. These generate a unique one-time address for each transaction, hiding the actual recipient and ring signatures, which mix your transaction with others on the network, making it almost impossible to pinpoint the original sender. It effectively hides the sender, receiver, and the amount.
Okay, that's pretty comprehensive privacy.
Then you have Zcash, which uses this revolutionary concept called zero-knowledge proofs, specifically ZK snarks. Think of it like being able to prove you have the key to open a door without actually showing the key itself.
Huh. How does that work?
With Zcash, you can prove to the network that a transaction is valid, you own the funds, you're sending the right amount without revealing any specific information about that transaction. Sender, receiver, amount, all hidden.
That sounds almost magical.
It's complex cryptography, but the result is an unparalleled level of anonymity. This is vital for users prioritizing extreme privacy, where every detail needs concealing to avoid tracking or surveillance. For them, these coins are essential because they eliminate the financial trail that even most common cryptocurrencies still leave, even if only pseudonymously.
Okay, so that covers secure ledgers and private transactions. Now imagine a network that just can't be shut down because there's no central point to attack. That's the power of mesh networks. These are like the invisible foundations of our digital fortress, making sure messages always get through.
Yes, mesh networks are fascinating.
They form the basis of a more resilient and, fundamentally, a freer internet. In simple terms, a mesh network allows direct, peer-to-peer communication between devices. They form this dynamic, self-organizing, incredibly resilient communication infrastructure. Think about a group of friends at a crowded music festival where the main cell signal drops out.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Even without the central cell tower, they might still be able to talk to each other, passing the message along from phone to phone until it reaches the intended recipient.
Oh.
There's no single central tower. The phones themselves act as mini-routers, forming the network. Each device acts as a node, routing traffic for nearby nodes, and if one path fails, the network just automatically finds another way.
And the importance of this for decentralization and for the resilience of our fortress is just huge. This architecture provides resilience and, crucially, eliminates single points of failure. If one device fails or an ISP goes down, the network simply routes traffic through other available paths. This makes them incredibly resistant to disruptions, whether from technical failures, natural disasters, or attempts at censorship or blocking by governments or corporations. It's like the road to your fortress having millions of alternate routes.
Okay, very resilient.
Two really notable examples of P2P protocols leveraging this resilient network idea are CJDNs and IPFS. CJDNs is essentially a network layer that routes traffic over an encrypted mesh, creating what you could call an alternative internet infrastructure.
An alternative internet.
In a way, yes. It doesn't rely solely on existing physical infrastructure, but creates this secure, autonomous virtual network using encrypted IPv6 addresses and decentralized routing. This ensures traffic can't be easily intercepted or tracked. It's a form of highly surveillance-resistant communication, like a real secret tunnel for your fortress.
Interesting. And IPFS.
IPFS, or the Interplanetary File System, is a protocol for distributed file storage and sharing. Instead of asking for a file from a specific server, like we do with traditional HTTP, where you request a file living at, say, www.server-starex.com,
Yeah, the usual way.
in IPFS, you request the file by its content identity, a unique cryptographic hash of that file. If anyone on the network has that content, they can serve it directly to you.
So you ask, what, not where?
Exactly. Data is accessible based on its content, not its location on a central server. This means IPFS inherently resists blocking and monitoring because the data can be fetched from any node hosting it. It makes censorship and content takedowns much harder. It's a way to make the web more robust and permanent, ensuring knowledge and information stay accessible regardless of whether specific central servers are up. Like having your library not in one building but spread across thousands of homes, each with copies of the same books.
Okay, so what does all this mean for your personal files? Think about storing your most sensitive data, photos, documents, videos, in a way that no single company or government can just access it, delete it, or censor it. That's what decentralized storage systems offer. They're like the ultra-secure vaults in our fortress. Solutions like Filecoin and Storage use these distributed networks to store encrypted data. Here's basically how it works. Your files get broken down into smaller pieces. These pieces are then encrypted individually, right there on your own device, before they're even sent out.
Client-side encryption, very important.
Yes. Then these encrypted chunks are spread across numerous computers around the world, participating in the storage network. It's like your file is a super complex jigsaw puzzle, where each piece is unreadable on its own, and each piece is held by a different person in a different place, and only you have the map and instructions to put it back together.
And the relevance of these technologies for data privacy and security is immense. First, they offer unparalleled redundancy and availability. Because the data is encrypted client-side and replicated across many nodes, even if some nodes fail, your data remains accessible and intact. No single point of failure can cut off your access.
Good for backups too, then.
Absolutely. Second, this distribution and encryption protect against censorship and data loss. There's no central server to be targeted by a concentrated attack, a legal takedown order, or a catastrophic failure. Your data is effectively everywhere and nowhere specific all at once, making it extreme. It's crucial. It means even if someone managed to access a piece of your file on one of the storage nodes, that piece would be completely unreadable, just gibberish without your private key. Control over that key, and therefore control over your data, stays exclusively with you. This guarantees privacy even against unauthorized access attempts. The storage provider can't read your data, and they don't need to. Your cryptographic security protects your content, not trust in a third party.
We've talked a lot about privacy in terms of data and infrastructure, but truly confidential communication is a cornerstone for anyone seeking digital sovereignty. It's the private communication line within the fortress. How do these users ensure their messages, their most sensitive conversations, are genuinely private without eavesdroppers, corporate or state. The answer lies in applications like Signal and Matrix, which implement what's called end-to-end encryption. And this is a vital distinction. Think of it this way. The message gets encrypted on your device the moment you type it, and it's only decrypted on the recipient's device. Nobody in the middle, not the company that made the app, not your internet provider, not a government intercepting traffic, can read the content of your conversation.
Right.
They just see scrambled data, basically digital noise.
Exactly. This guarantees two crucial principles for communication in a sovereign environment: confidentiality and authenticity. Confidentiality because, like you said, only the sender and intended recipient can read the messages. The content is protected end-to-end.
Okay.
And authenticity because it ensures the messages weren't tampered with in transit. You can be sure the message you received is exactly the message the person sent.
That's important too.
For individuals demanding extreme security, this isn't just a nice-to-have feature. It's non-negotiable for all their digital interactions. It's the foundation for any truly private dialogue. And it's worth highlighting the difference here between transport encryption and end-to-end encryption. Transport encryption, like what we use on HTTPS websites, protects communication only while it's in transit between 2 points, say your browser and the website server. But the intermediary server receiving the message can still see the content before maybe re-encrypting it and sending it on.
Ah, okay, so the server can see it.
Yes. With end-to-end encryption, the message stays encrypted the entire way, from your device straight to your friend's device. Only the two of you hold the keys to unlock it. The server relaying the message never gets access to the plain text content. That's what makes it superior for truly private, secure communication and an impenetrable barrier in our communication fortress.
Okay, finally, it's not just about the network or the storage, but the actual device you're using. I mean, what good are impenetrable walls if the main gate, your computer, is vulnerable, right?
Good point.
Can you really trust your computer and the software running on it? With open source software and operating systems, the answer leans towards a much more confident yes. What does open source mean here? It means the source code, the actual programming instructions for the software, is publicly available. Anyone can inspect it line by line, modify it, improve it. There's no black box, no secrets hidden behind proprietary licenses. You can literally see what the program is doing.
And that transparency is what gives these environments an unmatched auditability advantage. It's why they form the foundation of a truly robust digital fortress. It means thousands of developers, security researchers, enthusiasts worldwide can scrutinize every line of code continuously.
Like crowdsourced security auditing.
Exactly. This drastically reduces the likelihood of hidden vulnerabilities, security bugs, or, more worryingly, malicious backdoors that could be exploited by bad actors, cybercriminals, corporations, government agencies. It's ongoing, community-driven auditing, a stark contrast to proprietary software where you often just have to trust a single corporation's promise.
Right, you just hope they did a good job.
Plus, open source allows for unprecedented customization and control. Users can tailor their systems for maximum security and privacy, removing unwanted features that might collect data or introduce risks, or fine-tuning them to their specific needs in a very granular way.
Okay. Any examples of these super secure OCs?
Yes. Two key examples our sources highlight for users needing maximum defense. The foundation of a truly sovereign command post are Tails and Queebs OS. Tails is a live operating system. That means it runs entirely from a USB stick or DVD and leaves no persistent traces on the host computer after shutdown. It's designed to force all internet traffic through the Tor network, ensuring anonymity and protection against network surveillance. It's a fundamental tool for anyone needing a digital workspace that's ephemeral and non-compromising.
Okay, so it vanishes when you're done.
Pretty much. Then there's Queebs OS, which is a security-focused operating system using an approach called security by isolation. It isolates different applications and data into separate virtual machines called Queebs, each acting like a secure, isolated compartment.
Like different boxes for different tasks.
Exactly. For instance, your web browser might run in one quib, your email client in another, and your sensitive work documents in a third, all completely walled off from each other. This means if one environment gets compromised, say, you click a malicious link in the browser, the infection stays contained within that quib and can't spread to your other data or the main system.
Wow, that sounds seriously secure.
It is. These systems are benchmarks for those seeking an unparalleled level of control and security, building leak-proof internal barriers within your own digital workstation. #TaxTag3. The power of synergy, building a holistic digital fortress.
Okay, so we've looked at the individual pieces of this tech puzzle, the foundational bricks of our digital fortress. blockchain, mesh networks, decentralized storage, encrypted communication, open source keys. But the real magic, the core insight from our sources, is how these technologies don't just exist in isolation. It's how they work in synergy, how they weave together and complement each other. It's not about using just one of them. It's how cleverly combining them elevates security and privacy to a whole different level. It's like building that high-tech fortress, not just with individual bricks, but with walls that reinforce each other, gates that interconnect, and towers that communicate seamlessly.
Precisely. The crucial point, and something worth hammering home, is that no single technology on its own is enough to achieve the level of sovereignty and security that these libertarian and paranoid users, and frankly, anyone concerned about privacy, are looking for.
Right, no silver bullet.
No silver bullet. It's the strategic combination of these elements, the way they interact and strengthen each other, that creates a truly robust, adaptive, and comprehensive solution. It's at this point that the concept of digital sovereignty really emerges, not as some abstract idea or unreachable ideal, but as a practical, functional architecture we can start building today.
And this integrated architecture rests on some very clear pillars that, when combined, deliver that sovereignty. The first one is secure and resilient communication. How does that work when all the pieces click together?
Okay, so the mesh networks and P2P protocols, like the CJDNs we mentioned, provide the transport layer. This layer is inherently resistant to censorship and failure because it creates multiple alternative paths for data, making the network incredibly hard to take down or block.
The resilient foundation.
Exactly. Then, layered on top of this robust network infrastructure, you have the end-to-end encrypted messaging apps like Signal or Matrix. They ensure the privacy of the content itself.
Okay.
The practical benefit here is the ability to interact directly and with absolute confidentiality, even in challenging environments where traditional communication infrastructure might be compromised or censored. Think about a journalist reporting from a conflict zone where internet lines are routinely cut, or a human rights activist needing to share sensitive info without fear of state surveillance.
Yeah, real-world needs.
The mesh network ensures the message can physically get through barriers, and the end-to-end encryption guarantees its content is impenetrable. It's a truly uncensorable and unblockable lifeline.
Okay, next pillar. Decentralized economy and incentive. How do the technologies we discussed fit here, changing how we interact with money?
Right. Cryptocurrencies, especially the privacy-focused ones like Monero and Zcash, combined with the functionality of blockchain-based smart contracts, facilitate direct person-to-person financial interactions, no need for traditional banks or payment processors.
And smart contracts. Remind me quickly.
Sure. Think of them as self-executing agreements. You write the conditions of the deal into code on the blockchain. When those conditions are met verified by the network, the contract automatically releases the funds or executes the agreed-upon action. No lawyers or intermediaries needed, necessarily.
Got it. Automated agreements.
The benefit is that users can participate in an economy that directly incentivizes the network participants. Miners, validators, storage providers, creating total independence from traditional financial systems. You become your own bank, effectively, with full control over your funds and transactions, and you can make payments with a level of privacy that traditional banks just can't even approach.
Okay, makes sense. And for our critical data, our digital memories, important documents, the pillar of private and resilient storage. How does the synergy here keep our data truly safe and under our control?
Okay, so your data gets encrypted on your own device, crucially, client-side, before it's even sent to the network. This means not even the storage provider can see your file contents. They just get meaningless encrypted data.
Right, encrypted first.
Then, that encrypted data is replicated and distributed across decentralized storage networks, like Filecoin or Storage, spreading the encrypted fragments over thousands of nodes worldwide.
Okay.
The benefit of this combination is unprecedented censorship prevention and data availability. There's no single server to take down, hack, or target with a legal order to delete your files. Your data is resilient against failures and targeted attacks, making it practically indestructible and uncensorable. It's your own personal cloud, totally under your control, where only you hold the master key.
And finally, the secure and auditable computing environment, which is kind of where it all comes together on your device. How does the software we run integrate into this digital fortress vision?
The open source operating systems like Tails or Krups OS provide this transparent, customizable foundation for your entire digital environment. They aren't just operating systems, they're security frameworks designed from the ground up for isolation and protection.
Built for security first.
Exactly. These systems are configured to seamlessly integrate and optimally use all the decentralized tools we've discussed, the mesh networks for communication, distributed storage for files, encrypted comms apps. For example, all your communications might be automatically routed over an encrypted P2P network, all your files saved to decentralized storage, while the OS isolates each app to prevent data leaks or attacks spreading. And crucially, it's all highly configurable and based on open source code, allowing you to shape the system to your specific privacy and security needs. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's something you can inspect, audit, and customize.
You can really make it your own.
The direct benefit is a drastic reduction in the risks of hidden vulnerabilities and backdoors, because the code is openly auditable by anyone. This gives you unprecedented control over your digital workspace. You can verify for yourself there are no surprises or weak points. It's the command center of your fortress, where you have total visibility and control over every aspect of your digital operations.
And the result of all this synergy, this powerful combination of technologies, is something our sources call absolute digital sovereignty. This isn't just about privacy or security anymore. It's about the user maintaining absolute control over their data, their communications, their online operations, without relying on any third party or central authority.
So what does absolute control mean in practical terms for you, the listener? It means having the ability to move your data freely, to communicate without fear of being monitored or censored, and to transact financially how and when you want, regardless of external pressures or attempts at control by governments or corporations. It's the ability to exist in cyberspace with the same level of autonomy you'd expect, or at least hope for, in the physical world. This is really the aha moment of our deep dive, realizing the full scope of what's possible when these technologies are combined intelligently.
Yeah, seeing the whole picture.
It's where theory meets practice, and digital freedom stops being just a dream and becomes an engineered reality, where privacy and autonomy become rights you actively reclaim, not just optional features. #Take4. Real-world manifestations, proposed blends in action.
Okay, let's take this from theory to, well, tantalizing possibility. Let's see this fortress in action. Imagine a social media platform that doesn't track you, doesn't censor you, and literally can't be shut down by a central authority. Our sources actually explore this exact idea in detail. A decentralized social network for the ultra-private.
Sounds appealing, doesn't it?
It really does. So how would it work, practically speaking? The basic connectivity could be provided by a mesh network, or a similar P2P protocol like CJDNs, allowing direct peer-to-peer connections between users. That eliminates the need for a central server to host the network itself.
No central hub.
Right. For private messages and group chats, you'd use end-to-end encrypted communication tools, like Matrix or Signal, built right in. This ensures conversations are totally private, unreadable by anyone else, even the network itself. Okay. What about posts and pictures? Boring posts, photos, videos that would happen on decentralized systems like IPFS or Filecoin. The content gets encrypted, broken into pieces, spread across many independent nodes. That makes it resistant to censorship and takedowns.
Distributed storage.
And identity. How do you log in? Authentication would happen via blockchain wallets. This gets rid of the need for a central user database or a login system controlled by one company. Your digital identity is yours alone, secured by your cryptographic keys.
So the benefit for users is this unprecedented freedom of expression and interaction with maximum privacy and really strong resistance to censorship. There would be no corporate algorithms dictating what you see in your feed, no centralized moderators with the power to arbitrarily ban your content.
You'd actually own your identity and your content.
Exactly. And the community, not a corporation, would hold the power and potentially the governance. Let's picture user A uploading a photo. That photo is instantly encrypted on their device, fragmented into small pieces, and distributed across thousands of independent nodes on the IPFS network.
Okay.
User B, using their integrated Matrix client, requests that content. Their software queries the decentralized network, retrieves the fragments from the nearest available nodes, reassembles them, and decrypts the image right there on user B's device.
So no central server ever saw the unencrypted photo?
Never. And no central entity can censor or delete it just by unplugging one server.
Okay, moving beyond communication and social media, what about money? A financial system built entirely on these decentralized principles, free from traditional banks. The sources propose a complete alternative financial system, like the treasury and banking system inside our fortress.
A self-contained economy.
Pretty much. How would that work in practice? Transactions would happen via cryptographic wallets, combined with those smart contracts on a blockchain. This allows for automated, independent execution of transactions directly between parties, no intermediaries needed.
Peer-to-peer finance.
And to add extra layers of privacy and resilience, the whole system could be integrated with mesh networks for anonymous communication related to transactions. And, crucially, bolstered by using privacy coins like Monero or Zcash to completely obscure the transaction history and details, protecting user financial privacy end-to-end.
The benefit for users here is radical financial independence from traditional banking institutions. You wouldn't rely on a bank to approve, process, or oversee your transactions. Your funds would be in wallets you control, protected by your keys.
Total control.
Plus, there'd be strong resistance to financial censorship or surveillance. No government or institution could just freeze your funds, block your payments, or track every penny you spend unless you specifically chose that transparency. It grants an enhanced level of anonymity in transactions that the traditional financial system simply cannot offer today. It's a true peer-to-peer economy where power and autonomy rest with individuals, no need for permission to move your own capital.
Okay, finally, let's bring it all back to your personal computer. Could your entire digital workspace become this bastion of unwavering privacy and security, the unbreachable command center of your fortress? The sources detail creating what they call the ultimate private and auditable computing environment.
The personal digital bunker, basically.
Yeah. How would that work on your device? The foundation would be a security-focused OS like Tails or Queeb's OS, already designed for maximum isolation and protection right out of the box. The genius here is that these systems would be configured to seamlessly and transparently integrate all the decentralized tools we've discussed. The resilient communication networks, the distributed storage systems, the privacy tools, so it all works together smoothly.
That's the idea. For example, all your communications could be automatically routed through an encrypted P2P network. All your files saved by default to decentralized storage, while your OS isolates every app to prevent data leaks or attacks. And most importantly, it's all highly configurable and based on open source code, letting you tailor the system to your individual privacy and security needs. Not a one-size-fits-all box, but something you can inspect, audit, and customize for your specific requirements.
Okay.
The benefit for users is an unparalleled level of defense and control over their entire digital environment. It drastically minimizes the risk of malware, data leakage, espionage, external compromise. Think of your computer not just as a machine, but as this impenetrable fortress where you control every door and window and you can see and audit every security mechanism. Your data, communications, operations, all isolated and protected. It really is the foundation for a truly sovereign digital life, where your privacy and security are non-negotiable top priorities, not just optional features offered by someone else. You're not just using tools, you're actively building your own trusted, interference-proof ecosystem. #Tag5, the road ahead challenges, and unlocking broader adoption.
Now, it's pretty clear these architectures we've described are incredibly powerful. They offer this unprecedented level of control and privacy, building a genuine digital fortress. But let's be realistic. Are they easy for everyone to use right now?
Probably not.
Our sources do mention that while they're ideal, they are also technically challenging. How big is that hurdle in practice, would you say?
It's definitely a significant barrier to mass adoption, no doubt about it. We've discussed tools like CJDNs, which requires non-trivial network configuration, Queeb's OS, which demands an understanding of virtualization and system isolation, managing private keys for blockchain, which puts huge irreversible responsibility on the user. Lose your key, your funds are gone forever.
Yeah, that's a big responsibility.
All these elements require a level of technical know-how and dedication that most everyday users simply don't have or don't have the time to acquire. The complexity of setting up, maintaining, troubleshooting these systems is a real challenge. There's a steep learning curve for these new paradigms, like how trust is distributed or how privacy is built cryptographically. Plus, some decentralized networks still face scalability limitations, which can impact performance and speed for large numbers of simultaneous users, something the big centralized platforms have largely solved. We can't ignore these obstacles. They're like the dragons guarding the treasure of digital sovereignty right now.
Dragons, I like that. But despite these challenges, our sources emphasize that these architectures are essential for promoting digital freedom and resistance to external interferences. Why would you say that's so crucial right now? That feels like a pretty strong statement.
It is a strong statement, and I think a necessary one. The importance of these technologies goes way beyond just convenience or some niche tech enthusiast group. They represent a necessary evolution in protecting fundamental rights in the digital age.
Okay.
In a world where surveillance is pervasive, censorship can be imposed by algorithms on giant platforms, and privacy is constantly eroded by data-driven business models, having tools that allow individuals to maintain their digital autonomy becomes a matter of basic human rights.
Wow. Framing it as human rights.
Well, think about it. We're talking about protecting freedom of expression, privacy of communication, financial autonomy in a space that's become as fundamental to life as the physical world. These technologies directly address core societal concerns about control, autonomy, and freedom of speech, pushing back against the tide of centralization and disproportionate power. It's about empowering the individual to maintain their dignity and liberty in cyberspace. That's why they're essential.
And that's why, looking ahead, the sources point to future efforts, needing to focus on improving usability and interoperability. Those seem to be the next big keys to unlocking the potential of these technologies. Why are those the critical next steps for bringing digital sovereignty to a wider audience?
Because that's what will allow these powerful tools to move beyond the realm of experts and into the hands of the broader public. Usability means making these powerful tools accessible to everyone without sacrificing the core security principles.
Making it easy without making it weak.
Exactly. That means more intuitive interfaces, simplified setup processes, a user experience that doesn't require a computer science degree or weeks of study to master. Imagine a Queeb's OS-based system that's as easy to install and use as Windows or Mac OS, but with all that security underneath. That kind of simplification is what will attract millions. And interoperability is crucial for allowing different decentralized systems to communicate and work together smoothly and transparently. Think about how different apps and services connect today on the centralized web. We want a decentralized storage system, for example, to easily talk to a decentralized social network, which in turn connects seamlessly to an encrypted payment system.
Like building blocks that fit together.
Precisely, creating a truly integrated, functional, frictionless ecosystem. This synergy between the decentralized solutions themselves will amplify their collective power and make them much more attractive for everyday use, accelerating the mass adoption of digital sovereignty. It's like building bridges between the different strongholds of our fortress, allowing people to move freely between them without barriers.
Hashtag outro.
Phew. What an incredible journey, wasn't it? We started by understanding this urgent need for digital sovereignty. Then we dove into the fundamental technologies, blockchain as our unshakable ledger, mesh networks as our invisible, resilient roads, decentralized storage as our impenetrable vaults, encrypted communication as our secret lines, and open source OCs as the auditable command center of our fortress.
Yeah, covered a lot of ground.
Then we unpacked how they all come together in this powerful synergy to build a genuine personal digital fortress.
Exactly. And we reinforced that while the path to absolute digital sovereignty is ongoing and, yeah, sometimes complex, the tools and the vision for a more autonomous online future, one controlled by individuals, are already here. It's not some distant utopia. It's a reality under construction, brick by decentralized brick.
So what does all this mean for you? If the ultimate goal is digital sovereignty, complete control over your online presence, true ownership of your data and interactions, what small step could you maybe take today to move closer to that ideal? Maybe it's just exploring an open source tool like Signal for your more sensitive messages. Or maybe just understanding a bit more about how your data is really handled by the services you already use, and perhaps looking for alternatives. The journey towards autonomy starts with curiosity, and that first step, even if it's just asking the question.
And maybe this deep dive suggests that true digital freedom isn't really about escaping technology or isolating yourself from the connected world, but it's about consciously choosing the right technologies, choosing them to build a future where your privacy and autonomy aren't just optional features, but fundamental rights that you actively reclaim and protect. It's a matter of choice, of knowledge and empowerment, and active defense of your digital existence.